Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I want to go and explain the deeper meaning of what really happened when Moses was speaking to God at the burning bush. Specifically, I want to go into one verse which is in chapter 3 verse 5 in the book of Exodus. I want to go in depth about what really happened there, because when we study the Bible in Hebrew and we get to the deeper secrets of it, we see how much it resonates with our lives and the deep message that God actually has for us there. The Bible is not just a bunch of stories, nor history of the past, nor is it just something that's surface level. It's something that's very deep. It's the guidance of our lives, and it holds all the secrets to this human existence. So I'm excited to go into this verse, and when you learn it in Hebrew, you really find out all the deep secrets that it's trying to tell you. So let's go over this verse and figure out the messages that it has hidden inside for us. So the verse I specifically want to talk about is when God tells Moses to remove the shoes from his feet in order to talk to God, in order to enter into the sanctuary, into the area where Moses was going to be able to have a conversation with the creator of the world. He had to remove his shoes from his feet. Why? What's the deeper meaning there? So the verse in Hebrew is Shal na'alecha me'al raglecha, right? Remove the shoes from off your feet. Now, let's go deeper into what these words actually mean, right? So, na'alecha, which means your shoes, has the same root in Hebrew as the Hebrew word lin'ol, which means to lock in, okay? And the Hebrew word for your feet or your legs, raglecha, has the same root as the Hebrew word hargel, which means habit. So what God was really telling Moses, when we go into the deeper meaning, when we go into the Hebrew of it and we study it from the Hebrew, we see that he's actually telling him, remove the locked in habits that you have on yourself, right? Shal na'alecha, remove those locked in raglecha, hargel, habits that you have on yourself in order to come and talk to me. Here we have a very deep message that God is telling Moses and telling all of us, the readers. In order to come closer to God, you're going to have to let go of those locked in habits that you have, those negative habits that set you back in life from becoming your best self, right? We all have negative habits that hold us back in life from becoming our greatest selves. And here, God is telling Moses, in order to come speak to me, in order to be close to me, in order to have divine revelation, you're going to have to let go of those locked in habits, those things that are locked inside of you that you've created a negative habit with. You're going to have to learn to let them go. Take them off. Take them off your feet, right? Your feet are the way that you walk, meaning that it's the way that you live your life. So when God tells Moses, take those shoes off, take that pattern that you've been living on, take that habit that you've been in and start something new. Be a new person in order to come even closer to me. So in self-reflection of our own lives, we have to ask ourselves, what are those negative habits that we need to change that kind of create a block between us and the Creator from having a deeper relationship with Him, right? What are those things that are kind of like a God in our lives? Because when something has power over you, that's not the Creator, that is a God over you in your life. So you have to realize that you actually do have the power to be in control of yourself. It's your God-given power, right? God is the creator of the world. He's the master of the universe. And God made us in His image, right? B'Tselem Elokim. And God tells us we have to emulate Him. What God wants from us is for us to become the masters of our own inner world, ourselves, to become a master of the self. Most people look to go externally, to go and conquer things externally, but the real measure of mastery is you mastering yourself. And so the same way that God is the master of the world, we are each called to be the masters of our own lives, the master of our thoughts, master of our emotions, master of our physical habits. So in order to come closer to the Creator, we need to let go of our negative habits and life. And we need to realize that we are powerful, that we have the power to change. Most times, the reason you fall into your negative habits is because you have thought patterns, you have insecurities, you have negative thoughts that come to you that you don't want to deal with, so you find an escape in your negative habit. That's usually what happens. But if you could find a healing to those thoughts, to those feelings that you try to escape from, then you won't need the negative habit anymore. But most people, they're actually not that addicted to things. They're not stuck in their negative habits. They're stuck in their negative thought patterns that lead them to those negative habits, right? Somebody who's addicted to a substance is actually rooting from a spiritual place where they're seeking fulfillment in life because they have a huge void. They just look for that fulfillment, filling that void in places that are never going to fill it, like alcohol and drugs. So from this verse, Shal na'alecha me'al raglecha, remove the shoes from off your feet. God is telling Moses and all of us, take off those locked in habits you have on yourself. Change the way you walk in the world in order to have a deeper relationship with me, in order to experience more divine revelation in your life. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone in order to access a different spiritual level in life. So we see that in order to come closer to God, we need to work on letting go of those negative habits. And the way we get there is by figuring out what is those feelings, those insecurities that pop up inside of me, those voids that I feel that lead me to my addictions. Because if I can heal those feelings of discomfort, then I won't need to go find escape in my addictions anymore. Start seeing yourself. Realize that every time you fall into that negative addiction that you don't want to be in anymore, it's because you are feeling something that you don't want to feel. You are thinking thoughts that you don't want to think, so you escape from them, right? Let's say you dealt with failure, right? After you've dealt with failure, that's when you're going to find an escape. Let's say you dealt with rejection. When you deal with rejection, you're going to want to find the escape, so you're going to go into your negative habit. But when you're feeling good about yourself and you're confident and you're positive, then most likely in those moments, you're not going to fall into your negative habit. It's only when you have an emotion or a thought that about yourself that you don't want to deal with, you don't want to feel, that's when you're going to fall into your negative habit. So in order to come closer to God, we need to let go of our negative habits. In order to let go of our negative habits, we need to heal what's going on inside. So we no longer look for an escape. Okay, so that was the big lesson that I wanted to teach you guys today. And we've just entered a new book in the yearly Torah reading for us Jews. We read one portion a week, and we've just started with the book of Exodus. And it's a very powerful time to work on ourselves. It's a very powerful time to change our ways, to earn forgiveness from heaven. And yeah, it's a very powerful time. And Moses is extremely powerful and such an example for every single one of us. Another thing I'll say about Moses is that what was it about him that God saw within him a leader is that Moses cared about other people. When he saw someone suffering, he said something about it and he stood up for them. We see that countlessly in the whole book. When Moses saw an Egyptian beating up a Jew, about to kill him, Moses was a prince. He didn't have to care about it, but he couldn't deal with it. He couldn't deal with this injustice. He couldn't deal with somebody being hurt, with somebody being hit. So he went and he got into a fight with the Egyptian, and he ended up killing the Egyptian himself because he couldn't deal with the evil that was with the Egyptian who was hurting the Jew. So when he saw somebody who was in pain, when he saw somebody who was a victim, he went and he helped him out. He didn't stay on the sidelines just because he could. He went and he did something about it. We see it again when he gets to Midian. He sees 7 girls who just got water from the well, and then he sees these men who come and take their water and who are threatening these girls, and Moses couldn't tolerate it. He went and he fought off all those men, and he went and he got water for all those girls who the men stole their water. And when he saw something that was an injustice, when he saw people who were victims, he went and he stood up for them. And once again, what made him get to the burning bush? There was a sheep from his cattle, not his cattle, from his herd that went off the path. And Moses had to follow it to make sure that the sheep was okay. And that sheep was the one that was leading him to the burning bush. So God saw in Moses a leader because he saw somebody who cared for other people, who went out of his way to make sure that other people were okay, that were safe. He was not a bystander. Okay? He always stood up for others. And in our personal lives, in order to be leaders, it's about seeing what other people are going through and asking yourself, how can I be of help to them? How can I stand up for others in life? How can I not be a bystander all the time and really be there for others and protect other people? We all have the ability to stay on the sidelines and watch other people suffer, but we also all have the ability to stand up for injustice, to stand up for people, and to stand up to the bullies in this world, just like Moses did. And we see it throughout his entire 40-year journey in the desert with the Jews. Every time the Jews messed up, Moses never gave up on them. He always stood up for them. He always pleaded to God for forgiveness for them. And Moses is just an incredible example, and that's just one tiny thing about him. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Now is the time. It's a very powerful time to work on letting go of your negative habits. Sorry about the slight. And coming closer to God. If we want to come closer to God, we need to let go of our negative habits. And to really study the Bible on a deeper level, we need to learn it in its original. I'm actually having a course, a private course, soon about deeper secrets of the Bible, including Moses' life, much deeper secrets. So if you'd like to join that, I'll leave the link down below. It's a private group and it's online and it's 3 weeks. So you're free to join if you like. We're starting, I believe, next week. So yeah, I want to tell you guys about that. And Moses is incredible. May we all take a lot of strength from who he was in his life. So yeah, wishing you guys all the best.